Muppets are best known for their wide range of original and parody films, ranging from the original Muppet movie up to the Muppets Christmas Carol, but they've also had their fair representation through the years within the Disney parks and Disney cruises. So join me today as we delve into the bizarre history of the Muppets in Hollywood or MGM Studios. Premiering on May 25th, 1990, Here Come the Muppets was a live show in MGM Studios featuring walk-around versions of the Muppets, these 5.5-foot tall walking characters that, to be honest, were very off-putting and kind of terrifying. However, there was a really nice holding room sort of pre-show thing where they had a video playing of Rolf playing the piano for a bit and Sam interrupting him. That was obviously pre-recorded, and they were the only hand traditional puppet Muppets included in this attraction. Other than that, it was all 5-foot tall walking Muppets. The show opens with Kermit on stage alone, and he gets a call from the mouse himself, Mickey Mouse. Now Mickey's just calling to check that the show's all okay to go ahead, and Kermit tells him it's fine, everyone's here, it's all good. But obviously he's alone and it's not all good. He then makes calls to Piggy and Fozzie, and they eventually arrive on stage to do the show. Fozzie also says that Dr. Teeth is going to show up. He then crashes into the theatre in a monorail, which is obviously very Disney, with the rest of Electric Mayhem. The show can now finally begin with a host of Muppety songs and all the things you'd expect in a Muppet performance. Jokes, gags, songs, parodies, all that fun stuff on a live format with big walking round puppet. Have I said that enough, that there are massive 5-foot walking Muppets? Because I don't think you realise how uncomfortable that makes me. 2 weeks after Here Come the Muppets closes, Muppets on Location Days of Swine and Roses opens in 1991 as an outdoor live show, again, unfortunately, featuring these 5-foot tall, walking, horrible, humanoid Muppet things. While researching the show, I was very weirded out by it because there's not a lot going on. As far as I can tell, the whole show revolves around Miss Piggy being a flower shop clerk owner thing who's allergic to flowers, I think. She sings songs, Electric Mayhem sing songs, other people sing songs, and then they break for an interval and the characters come off stage and sign autographs for a bit. Janice then sings a song, everyone gets back on stage, and as you can probably guess, they all sing songs. Now, the next attraction we're going to talk about is probably the most important Muppet attraction that we will ever talk about on this channel, as the main feature of this was a 3D film, and that 3D film was actually the last project that Jim Henson himself had worked on. This attraction we're talking about is obviously Muppet Vision 3D, and that actually opened on the first anniversary of Jim Henson's death on May 16th, 1991. As you can expect, this attraction is full to the brim of classic Muppet gags, jokes, parody-ness, and they've got sort of parody posters put around all the walls. The queue especially for this attraction really works for me. The theming is so amazing. I've been lucky enough to experience this attraction live in the flesh, and the queue is one of the greatest queues of all time. There's so many interactive elements, references, callbacks to other Muppet films, and it all works together on the build up to what is Muppet Vision 3D. There is a pre-show that plays before the show, obviously hence the name PreShow, that's basically just Scooter trying to organise all of the backstage crew and the Muppets ready for the show. That's fun. There's a lot of playing with, like, there's 3 screens, the Muppets jumps from screen to screen. Sometimes it's the same thing, sometimes it's different things, but it really works in setting the mood in case someone isn't familiar with the style of Muppets and the comedy around it. Now, if you haven't seen this show before, don't know anything about it, there is a lot going on in this show. And let's be honest, me sitting here, standing here, talking you through everything that happens in the show would be pretty bloody dull. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to go through sort of the key points from the show that I enjoyed and sort of the things that make it what it is. Hands down, one of the greatest parts of this attraction has to be the Statler and Waldorf animatronics that actually sit up on a balcony in the theatre with you, makes comment on the show, makes comment on the audience, and just be what Statler and Waldorf are. And these animatronics are so good, and it's just, you forget that they're not actually puppets, and it's just so, it creates an immersive experience of being in a Muppet theatre. There is an overarching plot to this complete chaotic experience that is Muppet Vision 3D, and that plot is basically the Muppets are trying to stop Waldo, who is the first computer animated Muppet, from causing chaos and havoc and making this Muppet theatre backstage a complete catastrophe. The ending of this show is so clever because the way they do it, I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm going to, so if you really don't want to have Muppet Vision 3D ruined for you, do not watch this next 5 minutes, just jump forward a bit. Basically it ends with holes blown in all the walls of the theatre, the roof's half off and everything like that, and a fire truck backs into the theatre, knocks the wall down, and you see out into the park, which is really well done with like a screen. You see the guests, you see like a walking live character, Pluto I think, that really creates the atmosphere of the wall has fallen down. After a few more little surprises and Muppety escapades thrown in, the show is over and the audience are escorted out. Muppet Vision 3D, done. Here we actually have our first instance of the Muppets in a Disney parade. Now I love a Disney parade. For me it's one of the greatest parts of going to a Disney park, is doing something else and hearing the music running over and seeing these massive carnival floats go by with all your favourite characters, the music blaring, dancers going mental. It's just a great experience. And this is really one of the parades that I wish I could have seen. The Disney Stars and Motor Cars Parade? Yeah, the Disney Stars and Motor Cars Parade. Now this was a parade that ran from 2001 to 2008 at Disney's MGM Studios at the time. It's now Hollywood Studios. You'll get that a lot in this video. A lot of it was MGM, it's now Hollywood. Just make that connection yourself. The parade features all of your favourite Disney characters driving cars themed to whatever they were from. Buzz and Woody, Aladdin and Jasmine, and the Seven Dwarfs, just to name a few of the main characters. But the two best floats in my opinion was the Muppet float, which was the car being driven by Kermit and Piggy, and also they had a Bear in the Big Blue House float, which has been driven by the Bear, which I know technically not really a Muppet, like he was a Jim Henson puppet, but not a Muppet. I just love Bear in the Big Blue House, and I wanted to mention him. One of the greatest parts about this parade for me is the fact that with the Muppet one, Sweetums was following the car on foot. Now this is either a very niche and cool callback to the original Muppet movie, or it's a coincidence. I'm gonna say it's a callback to the fact that Sweetums was always left behind. If you think it's a coincidence, you can say it's a coincidence. I'm not gonna be offended. It's not that deep, but it's definitely a reference. Our final entry to the list of Muppet things in Hollywood Studios, or MGM Studios, is Pizza Rizzo. Now Pizza Rizzo is a pizza restaurant that opened in 2016 with the retheming of the Muppet Courtyard. Now there's not really a lot to say about this entry because in essence it is just an Italian restaurant themed to the Muppets, owned by Rizzo, so there is not a lot to say. I haven't eaten there. The menu looks nice. I'll put a picture of the menu. It looks good, but it is just Italian food in a place that's themed to the Muppets. So if that's your kind of thing, then you're going to be over the moon. But there's not really a lot to say about this. I mean, there were plans at some point to make this much bigger than it is, but obviously the Jim Henson and Disney deal fell through. Card up there for the Whitmire and Disney beef. That covers some of it. If you want to see like a more in-depth of the Jim Henson and Disney stuff, I can do that. But that deal fell through, so that Muppets Courtyard isn't as big as they wanted it, but this was a part of that, and I'll eat there next time I go. But there we have it. That was the bizarre history of Muppets within Hollywood or MGM Studios. If you enjoyed this and want to see more Muppetology from me, I will leave a link here in the card to my bizarre history of Kermit the Frog, where I go through literally from the start of Henson making the puppet from a coat up to Kermit in the most recent films and the Disney Plus stuff, so do go watch that. Other than that, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're new and do want to see more of other stuff. I do musical theatre and Disney stuff, a lot of Muppet stuff to be honest, but loads of reaction stuff as well, so do that stuff. I'm going to stop flailing my arms about. Goodbye.